Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello and welcome to Glomus. So first things first, candle of the day. It's from a brand called Gelux Scents & Co. and this is their Mood Unbothered. It's got like a lavender. I got this when I did my black owned business haul and I've been loving these candles. I'm not always the biggest fan of little like tin candles just because of how low they are and how low the flame is. It's not my favorite thing, but the smell on these is fantastic and the burn time is really nice, so I've been liking these. I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions about these headbands. This is from Terrence Williams Designs. It says down below. I have like 10 of them and I adore these headbands, so I wear them pretty much every day at this point, at least to do my makeup, so go check those out. And yeah, today's video is one that I'm actually kind of excited about. I thought of the idea kind of spur of the moment. Basically, I was looking up articles for a different video that I wanted to film and I stumbled upon this article and I thought this would be kind of a fun way to like talk about makeup trends in 2020. I feel like every year the makeup community kind of has different trendy things. Like I remember one year strobing was like a huge thing and one year it was like the really harsh intense contour, and this year I feel like it's been more about like dewy, everyday, natural. I always think it's really funny what magazines think are the trends, and that's only because I feel like sometimes the makeup community gets a bad rap because of a couple people. So a couple of people will do this very strange trend that like nobody else is doing. Like for example, what comes to mind is the applying foundation with my boyfriend's balls. Where they were like, all these makeup YouTubers are doing it, and it was like 2 people and Jeffree Star. So I sometimes think that makeup magazines like take what 2 people do and make it a trend, but I also think legitimately there were some cool makeup trends this year that we could talk about, and I thought it'd just be fun to go through this article and just kind of see what they thought was trendy, what I would agree with, what I would disagree with, and I'd love to know in the comments down below what you guys think of these sort of makeup trends that happened this year. If you want to follow along, this is an article from Cosmopolitan and it's the 2020 makeup trends, 17 looks you're about to see everywhere. The first one is the multicolored eye makeup trend. Now, I've partook in this trend this past year and I've gotten really, really into it, but I don't know if I would consider this like a 2020 makeup trend. You know what I mean? I feel like we've been doing the pop on the lower lash line for a good amount of time at this point. Like, I don't know if I would consider this something new and trendy to 2020. I feel like for a long time people have been doing, especially this look where it's like an orange. This look is beautiful, by the way, but it's like an orange with like a blue underneath. I mean, what was that Kylie Cosmetics palette that had the one blue? It was like the start of the pop of blue effect. Was it the Royal Peach palette? The Royal Peach palette, that's basically what this look was, and that was back in like 2017. So I don't know if I think that this is specific enough to 2020, if that makes sense. It's a beautiful look, and I think the pop of color is really fun, but I don't know if I would say this is like a 2020 trend. I think this is more of just a makeup trend, you know? Maybe it is though, I don't know. This year has been so long and I currently have zero concept of time. So maybe this did start, maybe 2017 was, maybe the Royal Peach palette came out in 2020. Like, I don't know anymore. I have no idea. Okay, number 2. This is like a perfect example of what I am talking about, where a few people on Instagram did this and suddenly they think the whole makeup community is doing it. The Fluttery Mascara makeup trend. This is basically where you make your mascara look very clumped together and thin. And while I'm sure I've seen a few people do this, like I've seen on TikTok people do this look before, this is definitely not going to be like a widespread trend. And I'll tell you why I think that. Number 1, I think that it is definitely a little bit more of a like high fashion. It kind of reminds me of Twiggy, the more of like a posh look. Like that's what this reminds me of. Like British supermodels in like the 60s. This is kind of what this reminds me of, which again, I think is a very like high fashion sort of look. But I don't think the average person is, number 1, going to want to do this, because in person, I do think it's a little, just looks like you put on way too much mascara. But that's the other part, number 2, of why I don't think people are going to do this. I don't think people are going to want to waste this much mascara. Mascara can be pretty expensive. I'm not gonna waste half a bottle of mascara trying to make my eyelashes clump together like this. Where it's like, yeah, it's a cool effect for a picture, but in person, people are just not gonna understand what you're trying to accomplish there. Overall, I will say, I think this trend is cool only in like this way that this girl's doing it. Like, I love this no makeup look with a really heavy emphasis on mascara, just because I think, again, it looks kind of high fashion and cool. But I think as far as like, this is a look you're gonna see everywhere, I don't think that this is something we're gonna see everybody doing, and I don't think it's something everybody wants to do. Also, can you imagine how much of a pain that is to get off at night? I have to use like my entire Clinique take the day off to get this off my eyes. Like, there's no way. Mascara is already annoying enough to get off your eyelashes. I can't imagine having this much product on and trying to, like, you would never be able to fully get that off, ever. There's no way, right? Like, logically, it can barely get the mascara I put on off now. There's no way this is gonna be trendy just for like practical reasons. Okay, next they have the colorful lower liner makeup trend. I don't know if they just used weird pictures to represent, but this kind of feels very similar to the number one, but whatever. Yeah, I think this definitely got very trendy this year, and I think it'll stay trendy for a little while. I do feel like the lower liner trend, which I partake in the lower liner trend because I think it's very fun and I think a pop is really nice. But I do think this is the type of makeup look that like our kids are gonna look at us in 20 years and be like, why were you, I feel the same way about highlighter. They're gonna be like, why do you guys all look sweaty? With this lower liner, they're gonna be like, why did you want your lower lash line to be electric blue? Like, I definitely think that this is a trend that we're gonna look back on in a little bit and be like, ugh. But I think right now, yeah, it looks really cool. Like, I think right now this looks sick. And I also like this picture, I'm looking at this girl and I'm like, this looks iconic. Like, it looks so fun. I would agree that this is going to be a trend that's not going to exactly last a super long time, you know? Okay, this is another great example. Most people can't do this physically. I can't do this. This is the animal print eyeshadow trend. I have really never seen this outside of Instagram. And this is what I'm saying of like a perfect example of something that is totally and purely for Instagram. Nobody is like going out on the town. Well, maybe some. I hate to say nobody because I know people love to experiment with makeup and I think that's dope. But I would say the average person is not spending 2 hours applying cheetah prints as eyeshadow and then like going out on the town. Like, I can safely say, unless it's like Halloween, I don't think a lot of, or like a costume thing, I don't think a lot of people are actually doing this in their day-to-day lives. And that's the thing. I think we use the term trend a little bit too loosely because I think that's what a trend means. It's like everybody's doing it. Everybody is like going out of their way to do this cool thing. Whereas like nobody's really going out of their way to do this. I've never seen this in person. Granted, I don't leave my house, but like you would think I would see it more on even like Instagram of like my friends or other people or like average people. I feel like this is a prime example of an Instagram model trend. This animal, yeah, for sure. It looks cool though. I can't do that for sure. Not with my crinkly hooded eyes, but like it looks cool on her. So props, I guess. Okay, I hate this trend. I know I don't, okay, I want to tread carefully here because I never want to seem like I'm like crapping on somebody else's makeup because like that's not my goal here. I just think it's fun to like roast fashion trends, you know what I mean? And realistically, I know some people really like this. I think I'm a little bit jaded because my eyelids hate me and they've decided that they never want to look good ever. So this will never look good on me. It doesn't look good on me, and I think that's the reason I hate it so much. But the glossy eyeshadow trend where you use like a liquidy clear type gloss or a glitter and you make your eyelids look sparkly, not even sparkly, you make them look glossy. Like you make your eyelids look dewy the same way you would your cheekbones. I think it's just because for me, I tried to do this once and I literally looked the worst. All of the glossiness like settled into all of my crinkles. Somebody was like, Hannah, stop calling them crinkles, they're wrinkles. No. All of the glossiness set into my crinkles and set into my eyes and like got all up in my, how deep set my eyes were. I literally just looked like I accidentally got glue all over my face, like all over my eyes. I looked like I purposely put glue on my eyes for some reason. It looked so bad on me. And I also just think that there's a balance. Like this girl, I think she's pulling it off because I think she has some nice color added to it. But when I see people do this with clear gloss on their lids and then they also have like a crazy amount of highlight highlighter, a crazy amount of lip gloss, a glowy blush, like their eyebrows are super high up and doing that sort of, what's the brow brush, or the soap brush where their brows are super up. Sometimes I think it just looks a little too much, like a little too glowy, if that makes sense. The thing that's weird about makeup, now that I'm honestly thinking about it, is honestly, if I saw that in person though, I'd probably be like, oh my god, I wish I could do that. Like, am I just jealous? Am I just bitter about the glossy eye trend because I personally cannot partake in it? I don't know. But I do think sometimes it can be a little bit too dewy, like too much. You know what I mean? That would be my only critique of that. The bright mascara makeup trend. I would agree that this was a 2020 trend. And I know a lot of people that use bright colored mascaras now, and I think it's really, really fun. Again, this is a trend that I tried personally, and I just did not like how it looked on me. Like, I hated how it looked on me. The only mascara shade that I like on me that's a different color is a blue mascara, which I have one. And I do enjoy the look of the blue mascara because I have brown eyes. I think it kind of pops with the brown. But if I've tried to do like white, I've tried to do pink, I've tried to do a few others. It just never looks right on me. But I think something like this with this girl, where it's like a full-on monochromatic eye look with the monochromatic pink, with the pink lip. The only thing I wish she had is like a really pinky blush. I think that would have looked really cool. I think doing it in this way where it's like totally monochromatic, or using your mascara as almost how people would use liners for a pop, like colorful liners, using colorful mascaras, I think is really cool. This is another trend, however, similar to the colored liners, that I think we are going to look back on and be like, why were we doing that? Like, I think this is going to go kind of out of trend in a few years, but again, I think that's why trends are cool. Like, it's dope for now, and then your kids can laugh at you in 10 years. That's like the entire point. The neon makeup trend, I love this trend. I don't think it's gonna continue. This is another one. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna last. I think in the next 5 years, we're going to see the downward back into neutral, cool tone, boring makeup for a little bit, because I think people are now, we had the peak of everyone was like, we want color, and now we're at the peak of like, we're sick of rainbows, we're sick of colors, so we're slowly going back. It's gonna ebb and flow. I think we're gonna go between like neutrals and colors forever. But right now, I think we're at kind of the peak of colorful eyeshadow, and I think that's going to fall back down. But I think the neon trend is awesome. I have some neon pigments I got from Midas. I have some neon liners. I absolutely think the neon trend is so cool. Again, I also love this sort of inner corner neon moment. I actually want to do this look. I'm not even kidding. That looks so pretty. I genuinely think that the sort of inner corner neon moment is cool, and I've also seen people do some really cool like neon liners. I've seen people do these like again, really cool. And I also think this weirdly does translate to in real life very well. I don't think this is just an Instagram thing, because I've seen a lot of people in real life like walking around having like a neon cut crease or having like neon liner, and I think it's just because it pops really nicely. It's really loud, it's really vibrant. And I think it's a fun sort of what makeup was made for, which was like self-expression. I think it's a really fun way to sort of express yourself through makeup, which is why I think a lot of people gravitate towards the neon pigments and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the neon trend is cool. Again, I think our kids are gonna laugh at us, but I think the neon trend is very cool. Wait, what? The pink lip makeup trend. That's not a trend. That's just wearing pink lipstick. Okay, they obviously couldn't think of 17 trends. Whoever wrote this article, they were like, but we only have 16. And their editor was like, well, you need 17. So they just threw in wearing pink lipstick. That's not a trend. People have been doing that for decades. It's not a trend. Anyway, moving on. I'm not gonna justify that, okay? That's not a freaking trend. That's just wearing a lipstick color. Floating eyeliner. This is a trend. Okay, this is a trend that I don't love, again, because I'm jealous and I'm jaded, and that's just because my eyelids can't do it. But I do think that this looks sick. Like, I love when I see this sort of floating eyeliner or the sort of illusion eyeliner that I see people do. There are these accounts that I follow on TikTok that are like, one swipe, the liner is done, and I'm just sitting there like, like this picture in general, it's kind of got a mix of the neon trend with the liner, and I think that this looks really cool. I'm actually a big fan. I don't know if this one's going to stay trendy. I think this will stay trendy longer than some of the other ones we've talked about, because I think this genuinely kind of started in 2020, this being a more popular thing to do, and I think people like it because it has a more sort of futuristic vibe to it. Same thing with the neon, where it's like, those both have a very futuristic, I guess even the colorful liners and like the colorful mascaras do do as well. Maybe that's been kind of the vibe this year, is like futuristic, because when I think of those things, I think of what I used to watch when I was a kid, what like the space people would do, is they'd have like neon liners and they'd have crazy eyelashes, and like that was sort of like what futuristic looked like to us as kids. So now that we're adults and we're like living in this future time period, I think that might be why this is happening, because this look screams like Xenon Girl of the 21st century to me. I'm wondering if that's why, because now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, 2020 was definitely the year of like futuristic. Maybe it's because we all hated the year so much, we just wanted to like move to the future already. Okay, I love this trend. I love it so much. I want to do it, but I'm not talented enough. The watercolor makeup trend, I love how this looks. I think it looks so delicate and dainty and adorable and amazing. I've seen this on so many different people, and every time it looks so, so good. I love this very like soft, blown out, almost like overexposed sort of look. I think especially it really plays into that sort of like no makeup, glowy, basic look that has been really popping off this year. And I think that's why this is so popular, because this type of eye look pairs with that so nicely. This is something that I definitely, again, would want to do more, but I think for me, I don't know if other people are kind of dealing with this too, like who started makeup in like 2016. It's very hard to shake the like things that I learned when I first started doing makeup. Like it's very hard to shake the idea that you need to deepen your outer crease and that you need to have like a shimmer on the lid or like a lid shade. Like it's very hard to think about only applying one eyeshadow for your entire lid all over and like diffusing it in this way, because it kind of goes against everything I was like taught by beauty YouTubers when I was learning how to do makeup back in like 2016. So I think that's why I'm always a little hesitant with these new trends, because I'm like, man, this is very different. This is bold, but I should try this. I think it would be fun to give this a go. Maybe that'll be a video, is like trying these trends, because I think that this is like a really fun, cool look. And I think like she looks beautiful. The structured brow makeup trend. I actually disagree with this. So they're saying that the bushy, I woke up like this brow is out of style now, and that instead it's more about structure. I couldn't disagree more. I think 2020 has been the year of the bushy, I don't care brow. Honestly, I think I've seen so many people do the soap brows. The Patrick Ta brow wax came out for this exact reason, because everybody wanted this more like bushy brow effect. I think that the more blown out full brows are actually super in style right now. I have to say, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I never do my brows in a way that is like what you would consider trendy. I've been doing my brows pretty much the same way for like 5 years, and it's really just because I like how they look on my face this way, and so I've seen no need to like change it or play around with it or experiment with it. I pretty much always do my brows the same exact way. I would disagree that the structured brow is back in. I think the structured brow is gone and is going to stay gone for at least another year or two, and then I think we'll slowly start getting into it. Also, the picture that they put here is kind of like a weird hybrid of the bushy brow and the structured brow, which I think is kind of interesting. Like it's this weird in between for some reason, but actually I don't like it. It's way too harsh in the front end and then not harsh enough in the back, so it's like a half bushy, half structure. I don't like that. I hope this does not become a trend. I'm not a big fan of that. I think either like committing to the bushy or committing to it being more structured is great, but I think this in between is definitely a little bit interesting. I haven't really seen this before. I don't know if I like it, because it's like bushy in the front, structured in the middle, bushy in the back. It's like a double-ended mullet, basically. Interesting. Okay. The pastel eyeliner makeup trend. Yeah, this is another trend again, kind of like the colorful eyeliner in general. I think it's just going to be one that we look back on and we're kind of like, like I don't think pastels and, you know, neons are going to still be as popular in like 5 years. I think the trends are going to turn, but I think right now, again, it looks really cool. Like I think this is beautiful. I have some of the cake liner palettes from Midas, and I really enjoy playing around with them. Like it's genuinely fun to get to play around with different pastels and different liners and just try to experiment and do fun little looks. Like I said, a lot of these don't work for me just because my eyelids are so bad, but I would say but if I had like perfectly beautiful eyelids, I would definitely be doing pastel. It's almost like line art that they do on their eyes. That's like pastel line art that I think is so beautiful. Bedazzled eye makeup trend. Instagram. Nobody does this. There's not okay, I can't say that, but there's not a lot of people, again, that are waking up in the morning and putting on jewels all over their face. You're not seeing this everywhere. This is not what most people are doing. And that's really just because I think 2020, if I've learned nothing else this year, it's how to be lazy with my makeup. It's how to put in minimal effort into my makeup. Like, this is not, nobody wants to wake up 3 hours early to put this on before hopping on a Zoom call. Not a soul. Everybody just wants to look genuinely a little bit put together so that their cameras don't pick up their under eye bags. That's been the goal of this year. To try to insinuate that people are first of all, this looks beautiful, but to try to insinuate that this is a trend, that this is what people are doing, that this is what people are actually waking up on their mornings off and like doing, incorrect. This is purely just this girl did this to take this Instagram picture and then she took it off. I would guarantee it. It does look sick, but it's not a trend. Nobody's doing this. Okay, next is the subtle lip stain makeup trend. This is one of the first ones I've seen that's like legitimately, I think, a trend. Yeah, I think a lot of people are doing this, and I think the reason for that is because we all wear masks. I've been gravitating so much more towards just like lip balms because it keeps my lips moisturized, it gives it a little bit of a sheen, but then it's like I can put on my mask and everything doesn't get destroyed. You know what I mean? I honestly think they could have just stopped at the subtle makeup trend in general, which maybe that's on this list a little bit lower, but I'm a little bit surprised so far that the top makeup trend hasn't been more subtle, glowy, dewy makeup, because I think that's been by far the biggest trend of 2020. We have entire makeup brands now just revolving around the idea of being very glowy and simple, subtle, and that's kind of their whole vibe. Like we have Patrick Ta, Glossier, Morphe 2 just started to fill that kind of void. So I find it very, very interesting that like just subtlety in general because I don't see people doing like animal print eyes. I see people brow gel and lip balm. Like that's what I've seen this year, you know? The mismatched eyeshadow makeup trend. I don't know a lot of people that do this. I have a friend Abby who I know does this because she has split hair. So she has pink and purple hair. So she'll coordinate the eye color to be mismatched. And I love when people do that. Like I love coordinating with the hair. I don't really, outside of that, very frequently see people doing mismatched eyeshadow colors. I don't know if I've seen this at all. I don't even think I've seen this on Instagram. I think Cosmopolitan kind of just ran out of ideas. I do. I think Cosmopolitan low-key just completely ran out of ideas because this is not a thing that I see people doing, especially like opposing colors on the color wheel, like orange and blue, this sort of drasticness. I'm not really seeing anybody do this. Have you guys seen people doing this? I really don't see people. It looks cool, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not mad at it. I just don't see a lot of people doing this. What if fashion brands did what they did to makeup? Like what if fashion brands were just like, oh, the new trend this year is wearing 2 different sneakers on each foot, and they just lied. Why is makeup, I feel like makeup is so easy to lie on because it's like, well, somewhere on the internet people are doing this, I guess, but to call it a trend makes no sense because I never see, I wonder if you guys have seen people do this because I genuinely, I love that caption. When you can't decide between 2 colors, choose both. It's like that taco commercial that's like, why not both? Oh God. Okay, 16. Red smoky eye makeup trend. Again, I kind of disagree with this because I think in 2020 people were leaning a lot more towards subtle looks, but also I guess I could agree with this because I do know a lot of people, because of the masks, leaned really heavily into wearing really bold eyeshadows because, you know, that's all you could really see. So it was like a fun way to express yourself while still being able to wear the mask and be safe. So I know that a lot of people leaned into bold eyeshadows in general. Was red a particularly strong color? No, I would almost argue that like blues and greens kind of took over this year as far as being the strong, powerful colors that people did. I also don't think red smoky eyes in general are like hyper specific to 2020. Like I think red toned looks in general were much more popping off in like 2018. I think that was kind of the peak of the warm tone neutral eyeshadow palettes that people were putting out. So while I think this looks gorgeous, and yeah, I've seen people wear red eyeshadow this year. Again, I don't know if I would consider this so much as a trend as more as just like something people do. Okay, this one I'm gonna freak out because this is actually the first one I've seen that's like actually a legitimate makeup trend. This is the pink blush makeup trend, which is basically just going like bananas on blush. And that has absolutely been a trend in 2020. Like absolutely 100%. The blushy blush look is in, and I'm actually in love with it. I love the overly blushed, beautiful face makeup. I think it looks so fun. Like, it's so fun. I know that it's come sometimes, like, it's easy to be like, oh, I look like a clown. And sometimes I do that too, where I'm like, oh, I kind of look clownish. But I genuinely think that, like, not only on camera does this look beautiful, in person, I've seen people have this, like, overly blushed look, and it looks so adorable. Like, everything about it looks so cute. Your cheeks are so happy. Everybody looks like they've been smiling a lot. Like, I don't know. This trend makes me happy, not only because I've always loved blush. I think it's fun to finally, like, we're letting blush have her moment. Like, I feel like 2016 was the year of the contour, and then we had 2018, which was the highlight, and now we're getting into just letting blush have her moment, and I think that's beautiful because I genuinely think that this trend is so fun, so cute, always looks amazing. I love that it works for, like, any color blush. I just am obsessed. Like, I think the blushy blush makeup is so fun. Again, do I think my kids are gonna see pictures of me with a ton of blush on and laugh at me because they've, like, cyborged their foundation on? Yes. But that didn't make any sense, but I think it's cute and I really enjoy it. I think that's definitely the one trend that they had on this list that I was like, you know what? Yes, I see a lot of people doing that. It's a very cute look. I'm a fan. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, including my Glomus merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with links and information to the Georgia Senate runoff races that are happening on January 5th. Super important. Stay informed, stay involved. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!